So we are going to start at 7:32 and let's take attendance. So Barbara,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Nicole, you're muted, but Linda,
Yes.
and Allison.
Yes.
Okay. So I put together a more detailed agenda than the one that we posted, which I can bring up in a second. The two people or the three people that aren't here. So Wendy Ravelli is in Japan. Elizabeth is, I think, away. I'm not exactly sure where. And John Cooley tonight is presenting to the Natural Resource Commission about the pocket park for 1440 Main Street. So he's supposed to present at 7:50 and he was going to try to come join us afterwards and tell us how that went. But I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. So those are our other people. So let me put up my more detailed agenda. Okay, can everyone see that well?
Yep.
Okay. So we just went through attendance, housekeeping. I thought it might be nice if we just reintroduced ourselves, because when I joined, I didn't really hear the background of all of you. And I think Lindsay might be in the same boat. Like we kind of know a little bit about her, but she may not know about us. So I thought we could just do that quickly and then possibly, I said transferable skills, but just talk about sort of what skills, if any, that we have that might be useful to a group like this. So I can go first. I joined last year about in the spring.
I just interrupted Anna. Do you want anyone taking minutes?
Oh, yes. So someone needs to take minutes. Can I ask someone to just do it?
Sure.
Linda, would you be up for it?
Oh, sure.
Okay. And then one of the things about minutes I was thinking was maybe I should just hand all of the minute taking over to Barbara. So like, Barbara, if you could make sure someone's taking them at the beginning and remind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like take the whole thing over.
And I would encourage, maybe brief isn't quite the right word, but we don't need long essays. We just sort of need points of what was discussed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never know how in detail it's supposed to be. But so just
incredibly not detailed, not
okay.
in this committee, in other committees. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll reintroduce myself. So my name's Anna Feldwig. I joined a year ago. I live on Commonwealth Avenue in West Concord. I've lived in Concord for about 15 years. I'm a physician. I don't have a lot of skills like community planning or anything, but I am relatively organized and I'm extremely persistent. I think those are my transferable skills. Okay, Barbara.
I actually just pretty much grew up in Concord. So I've lived here a very long time at this point. My background is as a developmental psychologist. I did research at BU School of Medicine for years and years. And then when I retired, I worked over in New England nurseries in Bedford for the past 12 years or so. I also served on CHDC for 11 years and was also assigned as liaison to the Long Range Planning Committee from CHDC, the one that we refer to a lot, 2030, a bridge to something or other. I think I gave it that name. So I have committee background. I work in a lot of committees for my church, just a lot of committee liaison, that kind of thing.
Thanks. Lindsay?
Sure. So I've lived in West Concord for about 2 years now.
My background is in social impact with an emphasis on electoral politics. So I've done a lot of work in fundraising and campaign management. So some of the skills that I bring to the table are being able to kind of navigate the interest of a community, identifying key stakeholders and working with them to come out with desirable outcomes for everyone. Like Anna, I'm also very organized and analytical, so I'm ready to dig into some of the issues.
Okay, thank you. Linda?
I'm Linda Ferrari. Lindsay, I saw you at the what was it, the bench thing we did together.
Oh yeah, the walkabout.
Yeah, the walkabout. Thank you. The bench thing. That's not very specific. I think I've been on the committee. Is it 2 years? I honestly am terrible with time, so I apologize for that. I have two kids in the school system here, and I've gotten pretty involved in the town school stuff with my husband. So we're kind of really engaged in that. And I just got back, in fact, from the ribbon cutting for the middle school. So I have my own marketing consulting company and an MBA, so I'm also very organized, analytical, a lot of stakeholders that I deal with my clients who are, typically C-suite CEOs and CMOs. So I'm very action oriented and kind of insight driven, trying to figure out, what are the problems, how can we address them and move to action. Um, so obviously marketing is my focus area, but a lot of those skills come into play for me to be successful with my projects, with my clients. And I'm a curious person. As a marketer, you have to ask a lot of questions to figure out sort of the underlying needs. So I think those are some of the skills I bring to the table. I'm involved also in Mothers Out Front, which is it's a national, I'm in the local chapter, to advance a sustainable climate. So I think that that's very central to what we're doing here in Concord as well.
All right, thank you. Nicole?
I've been in Concord for 22 years. I've been in this group for a little over 2 years. It was 2 years January. I have a sociology background in which I studied aggregates, all different age groups. My specialty was child development. That's one thing that drew me to this, besides my love of West Concord, is that we have lots of different groups of people that need to have their needs met within West Concord, between the different Council on Aging, the Concord Park, all the obviously the elementary school, and all the different preschools. So and Minuteman Arc. So that is what interests me, is how the community works together on a sociological perspective. I am organized like Allison. I had to run a very complex household and did a lot of volunteering in my children's schools.
All right, thank you.
Did committees there.
Okay. Allison?
Yeah, hi. Let's see. I've lived in Concord for 27 years and West Concord for, I don't know, since 2008, whatever that is. And or yeah, maybe 2005. Anyway, let's see. A long time ago was a lawyer, and I worked in the real estate department for a big firm downtown. And so I have a real estate law background. And in Concord, I have lived in 5 different houses and built 3 of them. And one was a substantial renovation. So I've been in front of a lot of the boards in Concord and have a lot of experience. And I am just interested in that and that process, and I helping communities sort of be thoughtful about things and work better, and yeah. So I think,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you. And then Christine, do you want to tell us anything about yourself? Just because we don't often see you.
Sure. So I'm Christine Zale. I'm one of the senior planners in the planning department. I started with Concord back in mid-August of last year. So I haven't, so just under a year. So I've just been working with Elizabeth and as well as Heather in the planning office, just getting to know different boards and committees. And so I've attended a few of your meetings just to get a better understanding about how you guys work and what your focuses are.
And then Heather Carey, you are, is she still here, actually?
I think she
I
might
guess
have
she
stepped off. Yep.
Okay, so she is the office coordinator in the planning department, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so she helps us post minutes and any other
Yeah.
communications we need.
Correct.
Okay. So back to the list under housekeeping. So Lindsay is now a full member, I believe, right, Lindsay?
I believe so. Like I've gone through, the oath and all of that. So I think the paperwork is all set.
Okay, so that means we have two vacancies, one full member and one associate member. And my understanding of what an associate member is that they are not a voting member unless we're missing a voting member. And then they are a voting member and they automatically turn into a full member over time. So if anybody thinks the definition is different, let me know, but I think that's what it means. So if anyone knows people who would have relevant skills or you think you can talk them into joining us, we could really use, I think, a full group. And I got one lead about someone who was a town planner, but seems to have gone dry. Okay, so we can beat the bushes a little bit for other members. The next question I had for the group was whether we wanted to keep the meeting time of 7:30 on the first Wednesday of each month, or is that gonna work for people in the year coming? I think it was actually John who had conflict that made us meet at 7:30, but so we
John
can
and Greg.
address it again. And Greg, that's right. So how do people feel about that time slot?
I would prefer to go back to 7 if that works for the other parents.
Sorry, I was on mute. I think I was in the camp with John and Greg regarding 7:30 being better, but obviously if I'm now in the minority, that's how it goes, so.
Okay. Well, let's come back to that because I think John was definitely one of the people who needed 7:30, so we should wait and ask him. And then first Wednesday of the month, is that fine for people? It's easy to remember. Okay. And last year we talked about not having a meeting during July and August because it's hard to get everybody together. And we decided to try, and I think it was hard to get everybody together. So I didn't know, maybe we could compromise and try to find one meeting for those 2 months, maybe. What do people think about that idea?
I think
Okay.
it's fine, just if we check and see when people already know they're gonna be away.
Right. So I'm imagining that first weekend of July, or the first Wednesday of July, July 2nd, people may or may not be away. So is anyone away off the top of their head? Do they know that? They take, okay.
I am
Yep.
the first week of July, I'm on vacation.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. What about the middle week of July, the 16th?
That works for me.
Okay. Everybody else too? So maybe the 16th of July, and we'll check with John. Okay. And then we'll just skip August. Make it feel like a summer. I also have, well, I'll come to that next, but I have a agenda for myself for the summer, so I don't mind the extra time. And And it is very interesting to read all the documents that are on our website because they all need to be updated. They're all sort of 2021 or earlier. And one of the things that we could do is work on updating those. But let's just go through all the different possibilities tonight and see what appeals to people. Okay, so approval of the minutes. So we have 5 sets that will catch us up on all of 2024, and I believe we'd just be missing potentially 1 from 2025. Did everyone get a chance to read through them? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And is everybody comfortable approving them? Barbara
Yes.
and Lindsay and Nicole?
Yes, I reviewed them all.
Okay, and Linda
Yes.
and Allison,
Yes.
and I am too. Okay, so that's done.
Which one are we missing from 2025?
Well, Susan thought that we had something from 416, but it's marked on the website as not having a quorum.
Oh,
But I think she has notes from it, so I'm just not quite clear on whether we met or not.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's from
great.
2025, Anna, you said?
That's from 2025, 416, yeah. Because she emailed me today saying she's working on it, so she has something. So, okay, so then otherwise we're caught up, and hopefully we can stay on top of those and just get them turned over before each meeting so that we don't have to think about them after that. So the process for being timely with minutes, let's just go through it for Lindsay, who's new. So someone takes minutes. Barbara said they should be brief and to the point. Then you send them to Barbara, and Barbara distributes them because Barbara is our, what are you called, Barbara?
Clerk.
Clerk. Barbara distributes them to all of us to read and tell her if we have any changes or if we approve.
Usually I
then-
do just a little bit of editing.
Okay. And then Barbara sends them to Heather Carey, who posts them. That's the process.
Unless it's
Sure.
my minutes, Barbara does a lot of editing.
Depends upon, depends upon how they were taken.
Okay. So that's the process. And so this year, Barbara, you're just going to assign somebody in a rotating manner and take it over. Okay, so the next thing is report on the recreation meeting at which they were discussing ride out. So John went to that, I went to it, and Susan was there for part of it. And basically it boils down to they were discussing the different courts at the 2 parks, Emerson and Rideout, and which were in most need of repair and also which ones were used the most. And they were pretty clear that the courts that are being used the most are the tennis courts at Rideout, and people are playing pickleball on them. So they decided to renovate those courts, turn them into pickleball courts. And that was the gist of the meeting. And then they talked about the details of that. Does anyone play pickleball here?
I
Just
do,
a
and
little bit.
I had heard that that there was dissension about turning those courts into pickleball courts, and that they were maybe going to do something else, but that's not what happened, huh?
Not what I heard at the meeting. I mean, I don't know if maybe that was a before or after thing, but
Because there aren't that many places to play tennis. I think that's what we were discussing last week, and certainly in West Concord, where are you gonna really go? My daughter's starting to play tennis, and we always go by Rideout, and we can never play because there are people playing pickleball. So I'm not really sure where else you can go except maybe the high school, and then
Are they
not sure where else.
Are they gonna leave them tennis courts and then just line them? Because pickleball, you can have two pickleball courts on a tennis court, and but you can still have a net in the middle.
yeah, I think they are going to do something like that. But you know, I jumped off because I was at work before the end of the meeting, so I don't know if they decided that. I was just sort of encouraged that they're investing in West Concord. So, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, did somebody say something? No, okay. And then I think that I can take care of finding out from Elizabeth when our twice yearly meetings with the whole planning board are supposed to be, because we are supposed to do that. And I will take care of with Heather, sending out new meeting invites to everyone that comes. The meetings should come from me. So I'll do that. And then that was the housekeeping things. Does anyone have other housekeeping things? Nicole?
I don't know if you want to institute this. I know when I joined and John was the leader, we had to all be on mute and then raise our hands via Zoom. And so that everybody got a chance to talk, people weren't talking over each other, and we kept the meetings more brief. But it seems to me like it's up to every person who's leading the meeting.
Well, I mean, we certainly could do that. This isn't a group that, as far as I've seen, talks over each other. So, let's try it this way at the beginning. And then if we do end up with a lot to say all at once, we can go to the hand raising. Okay. So there are a lot of different things that we could do this year that we could focus on. And I put together a list. Nicole also had some things that she thought of, which we can add to this list. But I just wanted to run through it and see if anything kind of rose to the top. So, and this is not in any order of priority. This is just a logical order, and then we can talk about how much we are interested in these things. So we had talked about how before the pandemic, there was a West Concord forum every year where all the different committees would present what they were working on to minimize overlap and see if there were areas that people could coordinate. And that seemed like an incredibly good idea, and maybe something we should ask to have reinstated, maybe for the fall or the spring, because it seems like everything we start to do, we find out that another committee is working on some aspect of it. So do people agree that's a useful thing? Yeah, that seems kind of okay. The second one is something that Susan told me about that I was not aware of, which is that Elizabeth had proposed at some point that we expand the areas that WCAC, do we call it WCAC? Oh, Linda, are you on? Did you want to say something?
No, my daughter was calling from
Oh,
downstairs.
okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so Elizabeth had proposed that we expand the area that we are overseeing. And right now we apparently oversee the West Concord Business District, the West Concord Village, and the West Concord Industrial District. And we could, with the planning board's approval, include the MCI parcel and the Baker Avenue and Baker Avenue extension area. Which seems to me like a good idea considering all that will be happening there. But does anyone think that there could be a downside, or do people have thoughts about that?
I have, they're tangential to this, and we talked when I first joined, which I guess was last spring, a year ago, and we were reviewing design guidelines and, doing that for a little bit. And I was asking a lot of questions because I didn't understand how, sort of how people know to come to us. Do they always come to us first, or do they? And it seemed to not have rules that way. And it seemed like, I mean, I know we want to help the planning board in the best way possible, but it seems like if there's not a standard protocol, I don't know this, but people were talking about contractors and developers getting frustrated because it was the same. So I'm just talking about it here. I think it makes sense to expand our our jurisdiction, but I also think it makes sense to clarify for everyone what our jurisdiction is. Well, you know, and whether they should be seeing us first or seeing them, you know?
Yeah, I do know, and it sort of overlaps with number 10 down here. So I think all of us except maybe Lindsay were here last year when we looked at the West Concord design guidelines. So Lindsay, there is a guideline about what kind of buildings we want, what kind of look we want to West Concord. And the document itself is very dense and hard to navigate. But it turns out that someone created a preamble, which is really very good. So let me see if I can pull that up. And was anybody here part of this preamble, which is sort of a simplified overview that goes with this design guidelines? Barbara, were you part of that?
Like an executive summary,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were part of it?
part of writing it?
Yeah.
No. That,
Okay. Well, somebody wrote it and it's actually quite good. So, and in it, it outlines the areas that we are responsible for. So this preamble would be somewhere that we would need to update if we changed what we were responsible for. So it basically has this vision statement, a map. What is West Concord Junction like? A little bit of the background of that document, how we try to maintain the history in the buildings. And this is the depot, how it was and how it is now. And then vision statement principles, like we want it to be walkable, we want it to be pedestrian focused. We want there to be a network of gathering spaces. And then how to use this document. So this is really nice. And it could probably be updated without a lot of work. And then we could maybe talk to the planning board about how we get this in front of developers in a consistent way.
One thing Anne was trying to encourage to do is also with the design review board, so that developers would go straight to a design, and it's even more important now with MCI, so that there's a design review board that has architects, etc. I know Barbara and I heard about it quite a lot.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that.
It's a really, really good point if we can get it done, especially if people are passionate with what MCI will be doing to our town. So what would happen then is that the builders would first go to the design review board, and then so they would know exactly what they needed to present to us, the planning board, so that builders would not get frustrated with having to go back and redo things and meeting with people. Hence, I think what happened with was it 166, the gas station on the corner. So
Yep.
that it's a great point. I
Yeah.
don't know if it would have had the backing then. It should have, in my opinion, but with MCI going on, it's more important than ever, I think, for Concord to have a design review board.
Okay. Yeah, that is an important point. And we
And that
never
could-
got anywhere.
And that could mirror the design guidelines, right? They would be the expertise of the design guidelines,
Right.
share with the developer why they need it to be such.
And this seems like a great time to do it because, you know, we're at this little pause before MCI happens. And if we could kind of get our ducks lined up, it seems like it would be.
I think that the challenge will be that that would have to cover the entire town, not just West Concord Village area. And I think at the
entirety
time,
of West Concord or all of Concord?
all of Concord. If you do
Would be
all,
of Concord, but we have the MBTA Communities Act too to consider.
I think the challenge for us is that we are strictly an advisory board. No one is required to come to us at all. As we've discovered with the Guitar Museum, that's just gone through, and we haven't even met anyone from the, and while we may think it's a wonderful idea or not, who knows? It just seems a little strange that this is a kind of a prime piece of real estate in the center of the village that nobody ever came to talk to us about it at all. So I think maybe to back up a little bit is to find a way to encourage developers or new business owners to come and talk to us about what they're doing. And if we have a simplified version of design guidelines, that would certainly be a step in the right direction. I think for us to go out and advocate that we should create another board in the town, it's going to take a while for that to happen. And I mean, it could take several years for that to happen. Elizabeth's point at the time was that many of the specialties that Anne was advocating for already exist in the other boards that these people have to go in front of. You have to go to the planning board. You have to go to other places. And they don't have to come to us. There's a reason why some people stopped coming to us. And I think that's maybe the piece we have to work on a little bit.
Okay.
Elizabeth was worried that people wouldn't volunteer to do it in that it's hard enough to get committees filled.
That's a piece of it, yeah, but she
That
also.
was a major piece of it. And that's why I thought with MCI and the MBTA Communities Act that perhaps more people would be interested in how the town may or may not change in comparison to the way they would like.
So maybe we could have Elizabeth kind of talk to us at a future meeting about sort of everything she knows about this subject. Because it does sound important, but you're right, it's another board, so there's pros and cons. But we do have this nice document, which is, Barbara, very different from the style of the other side of Concord. So although we probably do need something that applies to the whole town, they're different. And most of the development is happening over here, so I think we don't need to be shy about, working on our own piece. Okay, so let's keep going. So number 3 is to preserve and develop the green and blue spaces around West Concord. And so items within this would be preserve and optimize the tree and green space in front of the Guitar Museum. I have Jen Schuneman's email, but she wasn't able to make it tonight, so I will try to line her up for the future. And Allison and I kind of went over and we're looking at the property the other day, and there are some beautiful large trees on the side of that property as well. So it would be nice to at least hear from her what they're thinking about where the building's going to be placed and whether or not the trees will be preserved. Any thoughts about that?
I asked about the one when we were doing that walkabout with Mimi, the one in front, that very large, beautiful tree.
Yeah,
And somebody reminded us that, there are setback requirements and that's probably on like the town land so that they can't necessarily chop it down even if they wanted to, that, we shouldn't really worry about that.
okay.
So I guess that made me feel better. I don't know about the trees on the side that you're talking about, but just in general, I mean, as I was looking down Commonwealth Avenue, that front tree is so prominent. It's like the only large tree on the whole
The only
boulevard.
tree, yeah.
Really, yeah.
Mm.
And so I think we do need to be stewards of that. So anyhow, I totally agree that that's something that we should be advocating for.
Okay.
And when we were there, I was noticing how tight the existing building, which I guess is going to come down, is so tight to the road. There's a very narrow sidewalk, and then the building is right there. And if they're going to recite that a little bit, it might be nice to have, I don't know what the setback requirement is there, and I don't, I don't know if they're gonna try to grandfather the building in and leave a wall standing and, the, tricks you can play, but, I think it would be nice to have that building oriented a little more to the center of the site and make it not such a narrow, way down there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she may know some of that, Jen Schuneman. And it would be just nice to hear her thoughts about what they've already decided. Okay, anything else on that, the Guitar Museum? Okay.
Do you know anything about the timing of it? Or, I mean, does she have approved plans? Like, I just don't feel like I know anything about the status.
I don't know anything either.
Okay.
Does anybody? No, okay. The next item is the West Concord Greenway idea. So I spoke to Paul Bohm, the new select board member, and he encouraged me to fill out an application for a CPC grant to do this. But he said that in order to do that, you need to have a plan. So that was the project that I was talking about I have for myself for the summer. If anyone would like to help me with it, once I get going with it, just let me know at any time. But I have to learn all about this. I have to learn what the application requires as far as a plan. I have to understand where I need to get buy-in. But I was just gonna push forward. Anybody have any thoughts about that one?
What would you apply for money to do?
Really just signage.
Okay,
Yeah. I don't think, I mean, and Lindsay, if you're not familiar with what we're talking about yet, the West Concord Greenway is a concept of drawing attention by pulling all together the blue and green spaces along or that run from Warner's Pond to White Pond through West Concord. They're all accessible by foot or by bike from the center of West Concord, and they're all different. And we were thinking that if we called them something together, we could, number one, have people sort of explore them and value them and also kind of protect them as the area gets developed. And there's a slide deck. If you just actually Google West Concord Greenway, it comes up. It's on the town site now. And since everything is already there and the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail connects them, it would really just be signage and a map and kind of socializing the idea. So that's the second thing on the list. And those applications are due September 12th.
The West Concord Junction Cultural Committee, and I think they're changing their name, and that's why I had to go like that. They are also thinking about doing maps and whatnot for their projects. I was just wondering and signage. I was just wondering if there could be a way that people, like you could work with them so that you're both not working in isolated situations, or if there's any, like maybe you bring up historic as well. So there's signage for everything in regards to West Concord. Cultural, green space, and historic.
Yeah, and to build on that, when I was doing that walkabout thing with Mimi, with Lindsay, we were talking about having signs for where the bike racks are. You know, there's like a set of bikes. I don't want to get off the Greenway topic, but there is a set of the bikes along the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail by the Brooks. What is that building called again? Brookside.
Side.
Brookside. But nobody ever sees those, right? Like if you're visiting West Concord and you get off the train, you're never going to know that those bikes are behind you. Why would you ever go there? So
Right.
if that's the only location where they can be because for whatever reason we can't put bikes in another location, it would be nice to step off the T, get the signage, which includes where the greenways are, where, you know, some benches are, where the, you know, bike racks are, so that, you know, visitors can get oriented.
Mhm.
And maybe a QR code that would have a map for all, like anything
Yeah.
of importance like this, so that not every group is doing something independently, so that it can all come together.
Oh, also goal stats are based on 7,000 to 8,500 alarm matches.
It's a lot to do. A lot to do in West Concord. and it-
Anna, I'm not saying just for you whatsoever by any stretch
no,
of the
no, no.
imagination.
I know, but it's just really interesting how you can just look all around you and the ideas keep coming. I mean, there's just a lot of things that we could do. Okay, so the next one, and I don't know if this is necessary, but I didn't know if we wanted to assist in any way in getting Giroux Recreation Area opened and completed. Again, it's Recreation Department, but I don't know if there are things that we can assist in. So I was gonna see if I could go to one of the recreation meetings and find out if there were things that they would like to know from us, or things they would like to have us weigh in on.
Isn't John recreation?
I think that he is the liaison, yeah.
Maybe he could do that for you.
Yes, he could. You're right.
People are mostly playing in this hard
Oh,
support.
I'm sorry, is that someone's voice? I keep hearing a voice.
I hear a voice too. It's not me.
I think it's somebody's family member now.
Yeah, it could be my son in behind me, behind closed doors, believe it or not. Let me just say something to him. I'll tell you what, I'll mute me unless I'm talking.
Okay, all right. And then promotion of the Pocket Park at 144 Main, 1440 Main Street. I think, Allison, do you want to update us about, you wrote the letter?
Sure, I wrote the letter. I don't know, Anna, if you, because I don't have the ability to put it up, but, and I don't, John sent me a lot of, he sent the letter that went from the community in May. And, so my letter was from the WCAC, and it referenced supporting it, and it referenced all the ideas in that letter. It didn't restate anything much. It just, said we were in support of it. I think I said we're in.
Is that to the select board, Allison?
Yeah, it was to the select board, which is the same place that the May 25th or 15th letter
Mhm.
went. So he had the goal of getting support from us, the community. I guess I can't remember, the NRC. He's there tonight. So yeah, so I wrote that, and I think we might approve it tonight or agree to send it or not.
We wait and see if John shows up, and then maybe if he doesn't, we could pull it up and look at it.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I had some questions, and I can't remember now if I shot those questions to Elizabeth about whether we should attach that letter that we're referencing in there, even though it's already in their file, and whether you sign as chair, Anna. I don't know how these letters happen, but
Neither do I. Do you want to, while we're talking, fish around in your email and see if you can find the letter?
no, I don't. Yeah.
I mean, you don't necessarily, I guess that we really do want to hear back from John, so we could put it off, but I mean, there was certainly nothing objectionable in your letter.
No, but if we're going to approve it, people should see it. I just, I'm technology challenged. I didn't list technology and my skills that I bring to this.
And we could
Listen,
potentially
if you
send,
want to forward it to me, I can
All right, I will
share it.
okay. This next one, I'm really curious to see what people think. So I think it would be helpful to understand what's happening with Kenny Dunn Square, like with the Department of Public Works and the Warner's Pond Dam Pocket Park, because it seems to me like waiting 10 years for the whole MCI development is too long. I mean, it's just such a dangerous area to navigate. And I wonder if we could at least find out if anyone's planning to do anything, especially because DPW just got this money for fixing streets and pavements. And this might be something that we could ask for sooner rather than later. So I looked at their past plans. It was either a small roundabout or a T-junction. If it were a T-junction, in theory, Kenny Dunn could be merged with the pocket park at the dam, and you'd have a larger green space to work with. So I think the people have thought through this. I don't know if anyone's decided anything, but I was just wondering if maybe we should see if we can move that along. What do people think about that?
I would love to move it along. When Linda and I updated the traffic portion or the whatever our section was, we talked to Steve Dukran about Kenny Dunn Square.
Hmm?
Because back in the master plan, if everyone recalls, they had suggested that the town purchase the house on the corner and extend the Kenny Dunn Square into the pocket park. You know, they had a vision for that. That house didn't get purchased. The pocket park got built, and then the engineering department has looked at plans for making a T-junction at Kenny Dunn Square or a rotary, but I can't remember what they're waiting for, funds or something. For some reason, it's just very slow. And I think they were sort of hoping that that would get taken up with MCI. So it doesn't, I wouldn't know how to say how to move it along.
Yeah, I think that that's going to be the, not kick the can down the road, but that whole, because, oh, we can't address that, that's going to be a waste of money because then it's going to be all undone when we deal with the MCI project. I feel like that's the resistance. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I think it's going to be a thorny issue because of that. And I'm not sure it's worth, it might take an inordinate amount of our time and energy, so maybe we can reassess based on what the other priorities are. I'm not saying I really believe it's important, and I feel unsafe with my kids crossing all the time, so I think it's a real issue. I'm just trying to assess resources.
Yeah. What about just asking for clear crosswalks to be painted on the roads in the meantime?
Yeah, and with flashing, lights too, when someone presses the button, like, yes.
Let's see if we can get somebody from Public Works to come and talk to us about it.
Talk to us. Okay.
Because we're missing big pieces of information. My recollection is they looked for state money to redo it and they didn't get it. And that kind of put a halt on things. You can't just put crosswalks there willy-nilly because there are rules and regulations about where crosswalks are allowed to be and what distance they can be from existing intersections. And that's probably why there aren't any right there. When we discussed this, remember with Church Street as well? Why
Yeah,
isn't
I remember Church Street.
right?
Mhm.
So let's get somebody from Public Works and put together some questions that we really have about what's the status of it. Have we looked for funding? Does Public Works have a preference? Are they trying to wait until MCI really moves along? Is there a suggestion about how to improve safety in the short term there? If crosswalks aren't reasonable, can we change from a yield sign to a stop sign. I can't even remember what's there right now. Something. Are there other things that can be done in the short term that might be low cost, but still be really effective? But first, we need to start with real information.
Mhm. Okay, so for that one, would Allison or Linda, would you be willing to reach back out to Steve Dukran since you already did that once and just find out an update?
Yeah, we can do that.
With the question being, how could we move forward, or who would we need to talk to about that? Is
Yeah,
that,
or maybe the questions that we just listed off. So like, what's the history of the project? Why has it stalled? What are the options in the shorter term to make it safer? Could we put a crosswalk in somewhere? Or are there reasons we can't? Just,
yeah,
yeah, okay. Because it might not require anyone sort of coming to present to us, but just like information being shared.
Yep, we can do that.
Okay, so the next thing is that DPW got money for fixing streets and pavements. And we actually have a document in our, I think this is it, of hot spots of bad pavement all around West Concord. And I think they're all still there. So I wondered if it would be wise, or what people thought about maybe seeing if these are still a problem and giving that to the Department of Public Works to let them know that we've sort of thought about the areas of West Concord that really need attention. Any thoughts about that? I'll show
I'm pretty
you.
sure they have a list of streets that are due to be repaired, at least for the next couple of years out. Maybe we add that onto our list of.
Request to Steve. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, let's just find out from him what his assessment, since they paid those consultants all that money. Based on I went to the town meeting, and it sounds like those consultants, combed all
Right.
these streets
Right.
and identified everything. So let's just see what's there now.
That's part of the reason they asked for 10 years worth of money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And would that be part of the transportation committee?
Well, DPW is responsible for for roads and streets.
I understand that, but I'm saying there is a committee that would be talking to DPW. That would be the transportation committee, correct?
Possibly. I think many committees talk to DPW.
yeah, I don't know. I thought the transportation committee was looking more at making transportation more user-friendly and things. I don't know if they get into streets and repairs, but I actually don't know how that all works.
This is in front of the gas station. I mean, I recognize all of these. I don't think this was put together in something like,
Did you share
28.
something with us, Anna?
oh, can you not see it?
No.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to stop sharing. Reshare.
I have to stop sharing and reshare.
Yeah, every time you flip
Sorry,
to
I'm
it.
a Teams user, not a,
Yeah. And by the way, I received your letter, Allison, and I can, whenever you're ready, Anna, we can present that letter.
okay. Can you see this now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so basically it's a slide deck of all the different spots around West Concord and from 2021, 22. So actually it's not that old, but I think they're all still there. So you could maybe take a look at that before you talk to him or bring it with you. Okay, so I'll stop sharing, and then Linda, do you want to put up the letter?
Sure. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Everyone just want to read it or?
Yeah. Seems concise and to the point.
Looks good.
Yeah, I was trying to follow the format that I had seen and not put extraneous things in it.
Mm-hmm.
The letter I do reference has all the reasons John spoke about why this would enhance, connectivity and green space and encouraging pedestrians to, them to walk through and connecting that new neighborhood with older neighborhoods and all of that. It's very clear in the other letter, so that's why I just referenced it and said we supported. It felt a little strange to say we were, to just say we're in unanimous support since we hadn't, but so I'm glad you're all looking at it now.
I guess my only question would be, since members of the select board, well, I guess there are a lot of committees and perhaps they don't know what the WCAC is, so it's probably better to say who we are because there might be one or two or more who don't know who we are. That's my only question. Do we need that line about who the West Concord
Committee of
Advisory?
the Planning. Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
it says it
hopefully they
here.
would know that if they're on the select board, but maybe somebody new like Paul Boehm
Right.
doesn't.
I think
Yeah,
it's here.
that's good.
WCAC is a subcommittee of the planning board and provides a mechanism for thoughtful and public examination of issues surrounding
Yeah,
all of
that's
that
the,
for West Concord. Yeah.
No, I think it's nice and concise and straightforward. Thank you for doing it.
yes. Are we
So
good?
You're
are we all good with that? Okay, great. So I'll find out from Elizabeth, how we submit that. I do think Susan was the one who signed the one I wrote for Giroux. Okay. Okay, so I will go back to the list. Okay, and then, so we're on number 5. In general, I think we're not the only ones who are doing this because I've heard this idea from other committees, but with everything that's coming to West Concord, I think whenever possible, we should just request that there's attention paid to the relative investments on both sides of Concord. Because I think that we have a need for investments and we shouldn't feel bad about saying that. Okay. So, and that, I don't know how that will come up or when, but I just feel like we should always have it sort of in our minds. And then prior to my joining, and I don't really know the details of this, but maybe one of you does. There's a slide deck about improving walkability and bikeability in West Concord, and we've talked about how that's one of our ongoing efforts. But was anyone part of the group when we actually worked on that or put that slide deck together? No? So before all of our time? Okay. All right, well, I don't have anything to say about that. I don't know that much about it, but someone put a lot of time into it.
Well, when the presentation about the street repaving went on at town meeting, somebody raised the question from the residents. And the response was that whenever streets are going to be repaved, there's attention going to bike lanes and including any way in making them safer for multiple kinds of uses, which I thought was interesting for them to mention at the time. I'm not sure it qualifies as complete streets, which I know John talks a lot about, but but it was more being said about that than I have heard them say before, when they just say the street needs to be repaved.
That's encouraging. Okay. Yeah, and I know Ann Sussman was very interested in that too, right? So maybe John can fill us in at some point. And then other things that I thought would be worth our time if we had the time, updating our website. So our website is very old. Is there anybody who's facile in website design in our group? Because I think that we can ask the town to do it, but I'm just wondering if anyone actually has those skills.
No, I work with a lot of people who do, but not me personally.
All right. Well, I mean, we might do something like divide and conquer, and maybe each person like kind of updates, because let me see if I can pull it up. Well, I think I won't do it now, but it's basically, it talks about what our initiatives are, and they're all old. And then it talks about what we've been working on recently, and that's all old. But, you know, we just need to update it. It's not complicated. We just need to, you know, make it reflect what we're actually doing.
This is a
Um,
good exercise if that's what we're going to do. I mean, we're going through a lot here that I haven't heard us go through in the year that I've been involved, so that this is a good exercise.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's keep going because it's 8:30 and maybe we can just get through it and then have a few minutes to talk about if there are certain things that really stand out to people. Okay, parking and signage for parking, that's obviously bigger than us. And it's been going on for a long time. I hope it's not our project to figure out because it seems like other people are working on it, but it would be nice to hear from Elizabeth, and I'm sure she can fill us in on who exactly is working on that and if there's anything that we can do to help. We did sort of go around and take pictures of the fact that the signs leading people to the parking that's at the train station are inadequate and kind of confusing. And maybe we just need to give that information to someone. I don't know. Okay, number 9. Is there anything that we should be doing to promote the pedestrian walkway from Baker Avenue? I don't know the timeline on that. Does anyone know the timeline on that? Okay.
I
Has
remember
everyone seen
I don't know.
Elizabeth, another
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth question?
Yeah, I remember she said she could update on sweetie, update us on that a few months ago. So
Okay.
let's reach out to her again on that.
We can ask her about that. Lindsay, if you have not seen, there's a video of what the walkway is supposed to look like. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that yet. I'll track
I'll
that
send
down.
it to you.
Okay.
Well, I think I have it. I can just send it to you.
Impressive. Yeah.
It's really impressive. Yeah. Yeah. And that would be coming from the Baker Avenue area to the train station to connect the new development that's being planned there, Novo. Okay. And then number 10, we already talked about. 11, we added. 12, we're getting a little bit smaller now. Is there anything that we need to do on this bench effort? Specifically, I guess the one thing that someone talked to me about was the idea of a happy to chat bench, which is designed for older people. Actually, not for older people. It's designed for anyone who is happy to chat. And it's labeled as such. It's like a bench and it has a little sign up that says, you know, if you're up for a chat, have a seat. And so it kind of invites people to stop and talk to each other. And it seemed like it would be a nice thing to tack on to the bench project because all it is a little sign by one of the benches. And it's sort of sweet. So I was wondering if maybe we could tell the bench people about that. And there's actually grants for it. That somebody sent me the information about the grants from the state. Okay. And the last one is we should review and reassess our committee assignments. And I thought I would just ask if anyone was unhappy with their current committee assignment. Mine is the Department of Public Works. It meets like at 12 o'clock on a work day. And I have no idea what they're talking about. So I'm a little bit unhappy with my assignment. I just feel like I'm not getting very much out of it. But does anyone else want to change theirs? Because we could shuffle them at the next meeting. And Lindsay, you probably need one.
Yes, yeah.
I would say I've been a real failure on that, to be honest with you. I was thinking about that today. I'm like, oh my goodness, I haven't read the CPC minutes and the Climate Action Committee. I haven't been able to balance it, to be honest with you.
So maybe
So
it's too much. Maybe you want to try a different one or one that meets at a different time.
yeah, because I mean, you end up really being on, three committees. It's if you were
It's a
literally
lot.
to do it. So I don't think I can manage it all.
Right. So why don't we all think about what our assignments are and whether or not we want to, just pare them down to one thing and what it's going to be. And we can talk about that next time because I think we can, probably figure that out for ourselves. And we don't have to attend every meeting. So everyone will
Yeah, maybe
rethink.
that's I'm glad you mentioned that, Anna, because I think the expectations aren't clear as to what our involvement should be. What's sort of the protocol, I guess? What is one to do? Are you supposed to look at the agenda and then assess, do any of these topics directly impact West Concord or could they? If not, then I don't need to be there. Like, I'm just not really sure what I'm
Linda,
expected to be doing.
you hit it on the nail, is that you review the agendas, you see how our committee could be participatory or involved, and then I often just read the minutes.
Hmm, okay. Maybe just reviewing that for everybody's sake, we can kind of
At least
not only, yeah, maybe if you have a best practice, Nicole, you can share that. Maybe
that's
that's it.
my understanding of it, is that we are to review the agenda of the committees that we're assigned, see if anything involves our committee, and then I tend to read minutes sometimes.
Fine with that. I mean, that seems very reasonable to me. And unfortunately with DPW, I don't even know what they're talking about.
I'm the MCI.
Maybe I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, maybe we can, I don't even know how many committees there are, but maybe we can prioritize, like, which of these committees are, really most connected to the work of advancing what our objectives are. And then focus on those, and that way we won't feel so overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Um, so I do have in one of the notes from before everybody's committee assignments, and I could send those to Barbara to add to the notes. And then when we all get them, we can just look and see, or maybe you all know what you're assigned to. But I think, yeah, I think we need to be a little more realistic about what we can cover.
Yeah, I'll say I think I'm on with Barbara for the planning board, and I've never actually attended anything for that, but I'm also the MCI advisory board observer, and that's a lot. And I go, I don't go to everyone, but they meet a lot and they meet frequently, and there's often a lot to report back on, just to keep, I mean, there's nothing happening now that we can affect at all, but it's nice to sort of know, what's going on and what the timing is.
Yeah, and like I would like to go to the recreation one, I think. I don't know if anyone is doing that, but just because they're developing the Giroux area, which is right by my house. You're on it, Nicole?
No, John is, I believe.
Oh, John is. Okay. Okay. So we can all talk about that, but that's something that we should just refresh for the year. Okay, so we have 20 minutes left. Well, we have 20 minutes if our meetings run from 7:30 to 9, do they?
Well, that's a good question again,
That is a good
because
question.
I actually thought they were supposed to be an hour, but maybe
Oh.
that's unrealistic.
It probably isn't unrealistic if we're prepared for the meetings, you know? So I don't know, we can try, I think we should try for an hour. And just know that sometimes it can go to 9, but we should definitely not go past 9 because everybody's brain is mush at that point. Okay, so let's say we do have a few more minutes tonight. Are there things on this list that stand out to people? I can go first. I think 1, 2, and 3 are important to me. I don't know how much time we will have to do a lot of these things, but if I had to put my priorities in that, not necessarily in that order, but I think 1, 2, and 3 are important to me. Does anyone else want to say what's important to them?
For me, I think 6 is very important, the walkability and bikeability of West Concord. And yeah, that would be the other one that I would add to what you, because I agree with the ones that you mentioned.
Okay, very good.
And the parking and the signage, general signage, I think could be a huge upgrade for the town, or for our village.
I agree, but I do think maybe somebody else is working on that and it would be nice to figure that out.
I think
Anyone else?
the updating our website sounds like it's pretty important.
Okay, that's doable, certainly.
Your idea of divvying out pieces of it, the same way that we did with the design guidelines is probably reasonable. Even if we say, you know, by December, we'd like to have at least the out-of-date information off of there and updates for what could be there.
Yeah, I think that's very doable. So if everyone agrees that we can divide and conquer on that. Sorry, where is that? Update the website. Oh, here it is.
Number
Number 7.
Not a whole lot.
And I would also maybe ask if you haven't looked at the preamble or the bikeability, walkability slides. I mean, there aren't that many slides on our website, but they're all good. They're worth a look. Maybe over the summer, just to familiarize yourself with what's already there. Okay, other people, what stands out to you? Lindsay or Nicole or Allison?
Yeah, I would say that number 5 seems really relevant, especially with everything happening around MCI in the years ahead. That
Okay.
it would be great to find a way to be more systematic and thoughtful about having that be a consideration part of the conversation.
Okay, good. That's easy too. I mean, I don't know exactly how we do it, but it's easy to have it as a theme. Nicole?
I agree with what you have said, Anna, so far about 1, 2, and 3, very much so. And certainly, you know, a lot of us people who've been in West Concord for a while often feel like Concord gets center stage and gets more money, and other people might deny it. A lot of people who, at least in my neighborhood, between the Thoreau School and Cousins Field, in this whole general area, who've been here for a while, we just kind of feel like we're West Concord versus Concord that gets a lot more preservation land and open spaces and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps at all, though.
Well, I mean, I think we just need to not be shy about asking, like, you know, how much was spent on the other side of Concord and how much was spent on West Concord, and, you know.
Yeah. Sorry,
What are
I
the numbers?
should have readers, so I can't always read
What's
what people.
here? Sorry,
I think
I'm
the
sorry.
town divides money up that way.
You don't think they do, Barbara?
No, I don't think if you say to them how much money was spent, and you have to figure out where the dividing line is. I'd be really surprised if the town thinks about it that way and quote unquote divides money up that way. And you have to remember too, that because there's a historic park as part of the center of town, that changes the dynamic as well. I mean, that's under somewhat federal control, at least today it's under federal control. So I understand what people are saying, but I think we might have to find a different way of expressing it. Certainly at the governmental level of the town, it's just all one town.
Mhm.
So to ask, well, what's the difference in the amount of money that's spent on one part of town than the other? I'd be really surprised if there's any way that they can even answer that.
Well,
I think there's also a perception that like the 40B projects or not the 40B, yeah, that's the one in Thoreau Hills, for example, that a lot of those happen in West Concord first. I've heard people say that around town recently, like, of course that's happening over here because they wouldn't want it to happen close to Concord Center.
Well, it's
Whether
because
that's true or
where
not.
the land was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
although
no,
there
I-
was,
The land got sold to developers.
Correct. But they also had
pieces of land like
opportunities
that in the
to
center.
build near Crosby's, and they have been, I feel like sometimes Concord Center is very active
Yes.
about preserving their space.
Actually, Nicole, that's what someone brought up. They're like, yeah, see, that whole Crosby's
And-
thing never happened because they wouldn't allow it in Concord Center.
And yet we're supposed to get how many units here between Thoreau Hills and Baker Ave and then MCI?
Yeah.
And how much open space? I know that's also, it has to do with people's farms and whatnot, or people donating their land, but it'd be really lovely if we had a bunch of open space here too, like the way, and trails, that is somewhat equal to Concord Center.
yeah, and I think we can advocate for that, as with the West Concord Greenway, but also if that's in place and then the MCI land gets developed, we can say, we would really like that to extend into the MCI land and there be new and interesting things along the river and, new and interesting things, I don't know. I guess along the river. The river is the big thing. Okay, I mean, so I guess, we all know that there is this perception and maybe you're right, Barbara, that we need to find the right way of saying it. But I think it's something that a lot of West Concordians do feel.
Well, I want to say that, so I am personal friends with Mark Howell, who's on the select board, and he lives on a Narsnack, not a Narsnack. The hill off of Barrett
Strawberry Hill?
Road, yeah, up back sort of that way. And he has voiced that concept that he's a process guy, he's a fairness guy, and all of that, but he says that it would be good for the whole town if we started to think about just money, not just assume that all the money's going to get spent in Concord Center, and make it more equitable. So I think, and when I had exchanges with Mimi before she did the bench walk, and I mentioned that to her, and she said, I can't remember if I said the phrase "one Concord" because I had heard it from someone else. She said she had been hearing that too, and part of the benches, she knew a lot about the benches that were over in Concord Center for the 250th, and it seemed to me that Mimi is hearing people talk about making sure things are more equitable. So I don't think it's a bad thing to to keep raising, and especially because we are getting a disproportionate amount of the development and things, so.
And another example is I went into Concord Center for their Pride Day. All their flagpoles on Main Street had pride flags on them. We had none. The visitor center had pride bunting on it. We had none. We had nothing in West Concord.
They're usually good about that with the gardens and the flowers and the flags, huh?
But that's the West Concord
Yeah.
garden. They're the one. So I long supported them. You just donate to the West Concord garden people, and they're the ones that are in charge of putting up the flower baskets on the lamp posts.
Do they not do Concord Center?
No, and
No.
Concord Center has complained that they don't get flowers.
That's another in the other direction.
But
Who
us,
does,
West
wait, does a
Concord?
Concord Center not have flowers? I'm trying to visualize.
They do not. They do
No,
not.
we do because we individuals pay for it.
Okay, it's not a town thing. Well,
No,
I tell you, a
but
lot of those
we had
ladies,
no flags. The flags are a
Yeah.
town thing. So there were no
Yeah.
pride flags in West Concord. So
Hmm.
do Concord kids who are LGBTQ plus matter more than West Concord kids? Is kind of what I thought of when I first saw it.
So we should ask who paid, there's a lot of discussion at the select board all about different flags. So we ought to ask who paid for those flags to be purchased. The town finally had to agree to put them up, but who purchased them to begin with? I think it was probably the,
DEI commission.
yes, the committee, it's, what is it called? Is it just DEI?
Yeah,
Joe Palumbo?
Yeah.
We should go to them and ask who paid for those. Do we get flags up on the flagpoles in West Concord for Memorial Day?
we do.
We
That's
do?
why I was saying I was surprised that
Yeah,
it wasn't there because typically that we have the same flags as they have.
yeah. So let's go to the committee that probably, I know they fought to be allowed to put them up. They look really nice. Let's go and ask what other efforts are they putting forward in, not just in the center of town?
The
Then-
DEI commission?
So we make it not
Or-
not a money issue per se, but a representation kind of issue. When something is being reminded in the center of town, for example, they have that sign that's electronic now that they put right at as you're just beyond the library going down Main Street. And it certainly advertises events that are going on in West Concord, like Visit
Well,
West Concord,
actually,
whatever the
I
one.
noticed that the
Yes, it was so-
banner across West Concord said properly June 2nd through 4th or whatever it was, town meeting, and the one in Concord Center said May 1st. That's actually a huge problem if they were not communicating the right town meeting information, which they weren't.
Yeah.
But anyway, that aside.
And right, maybe that's a way to get into equal representation of sorts. It's a funny word to use around pride flags, but
Yeah.
what are the things that go on that we notice happen and why weren't there any? Or we'd like to have them the next time.
Yeah.
Well,
And
equal
June is a long
celebration,
month.
right?
Couldn't we use them for all of June?
Does
Who would
anyone,
who would we direct this to, Anna?
Oh,
I would have to look up on the website about who was on the DEI committee, I think.
I mean, sorry, just in more broadly, not just the flag issue, but like this whole kind of concern about the
Well,
lack of equitability.
I know
equity.
that someone is planning to make a statement to the select board about this, just in general.
Oh.
And I think that Barbara's idea of not making about money, but just making it about, you
Mhm.
know, remembering in each case when something is done on one side of town to continue it on to the other. That it could just be that, and you know, you could make that statement at select board a couple times a year. It'd probably have a lot of effect just to say that, you know, repeatedly.
Mhm.
So maybe we start there.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the depot area doesn't get flags. It's just right down the center of town. Yeah.
Right, right. Did I bold everything that everyone said was interesting to them? I tried to. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so we didn't have very many sort of assignments. There was the one for Linda and Allison and Steve Dukran. There was everybody to think about their committees and what they'd like to attend or, stay abreast of. I am going to ask Elizabeth a few things. We potentially have a meeting set for July 16th. I'll see if John can make that. And I think that's about it. And then we'll hear back from John at some point about what happened. So how do we do that outside of meetings? Like if John wants to debrief us, because it sounds like that's kind of happening right now. Barbara, do you know, or does anyone know how we communicate in between meetings?
I think it has to go through you. My
Me?
understanding is he'd send something to you and you just send it out to everyone.
Okay, all right, I can definitely do that.
And then if people want or need to respond, they respond back to you, but not to the whole group. If you respond to the whole group, it looks like we're having a meeting. And
Right,
then that's
okay.
a violation of open meeting law.
Okay, right. And then everybody think if they know people who might be interested in joining. All right,
I contacted Jen again for, from Joy Street, and I gave her my number.
oh,
In case
good.
any questions or she wanted to join.
It'd be really nice to have somebody from the sort of business angle.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, anything else or shall we adjourn? All right, thanks, everybody.